Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast daily. I am Austin Ward, and it has been way too long since we've had a former Buckeye on the show. And it's been way too long since we talked to this one in particular. He flips bottles, he sells fireworks, he's a DoorDash driver, and occasionally he will kick a football. Oh, he's also a social media influencer. He's all of those things. He makes me look pretty lazy. He's Drue Chrisman of the Cincinnati Bengals and formerly of the Buckeyes. Drew, how are you?
I'm doing great, Austin. Thanks for having me on. It's always a good time with you. I think I remember our last interview. I think we flipped 4 bottles at the same time, didn't we?
You flipped 4, and I flipped number 5. We were going for the record. I can only be trusted for 1.
Well, you nailed your job perfectly. So
I was nervous. Yeah, I was nervous. It was tough. So, training camp is around the corner, but right now, I think most people are following along with the exploits on the streets of Cincinnati and what's in that DoorDash logo. I think that's on your hat there. Another team that you're working with. For anybody who doesn't follow along on Twitter or YouTube like I have been, what's going on there? Fill us in.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, there's a little bit of a gap between OTAs and training camp here. It's about 3 weeks till we start back in training camp. And, this is kind of time to either, kind of take one last step away from football before it just gets crazy again. So a lot of guys go on vacation somewhere, just spend a lot of time, doing their own thing or, going somewhere, traveling somewhere to go train. It's usually what I do. I usually go down to Alabama and work with my kicking coach. I got a 1-year-old now, so traveling is a little bit trickier now. You're got the pack and play and, all kinds of toys, diaper bags and stuff. We're like, well, we can get a pretty good work here. I've now known the strength coaches enough on the Bengals, so they know my my goals and how training that I want to do going forward and have a plan for me. So, I've been lifting at the facility, but then I'm always looking to get a little extra work, a little extra cardio. You can never do enough. And we thought about doing Peloton. I'm a punter. Any way I can get an extra leg workout. But I'm just so cheap, Austin. I'm so frugal. I just could not pull the trigger. I was talking to my wife about it. She's like, it's going to become a coat rack in a month from now. You're going to spend over $1,000 and $200 subscription for this thing. You might use 3 or 4 times a week. And then, like I said, become a coat rack. But, your phone's always listening. Technology's great nowadays. And it showed me a video of a guy doing DoorDash in DC, actually. And I looked up if I could do it in Cincinnati. Everything was close enough, downtown was, to where you could do it on a bike. And I was like, it just clicked. I was like, this seems so much fun. It's a way for me to interact with the city, get outside. The weather's turning pretty nice nowadays. So, enjoy the weather. And it's a heck of a workout, too. I have learned from day one, quickly it teaches you that 5 hours on a bike is a heck of a workout. And so I've been doing that. And naturally, it's a job, so you make some money. And being on the ground level of Cincinnati, it's a beautiful city. But you do see a little bit of a need on the streets, unfortunately. And I was just able to use the money that I was making through DoorDash to just kind of give back a little bit. And I did that way. And I bought food from local restaurants and just handed it out on the street, just the little bit of money that I was making from the DoorDash, and put it on social media, and it's just caught wildfire. And now people are sending me free food to hand out and all kinds of businesses, and people are wanting to tag along with me and even sending me just Venmo money themselves, just through my private Venmo, just trusting me that I'm going to use it for something good. So thank you to those people. I have been. But yeah, people have really supported this. I think it's the Cincinnati community as a whole, hats off to them. I think it shows how much they care about their community. But yeah, it's only been 2.5 weeks since I've even posted the first video. It's grown tremendously, and Skyline and Gold Star are now donating thousands of meals and stuff. It's really incredible.
Having known you for, I guess it's been 7-8 years, maybe more now, I think that's obviously a trustworthy place for the money and the donations to go. But when you started this, did you think that it would catch on the way that it has?
No, not certainly not to this, this at this rate. I knew, obviously having the platform I have, professional football player, I knew me doing DoorDash was going to raise some eyebrows or whatever. I didn't expect so many people to like catch on and want to support it as well. And I think that's a beautiful thing of social media today. I learned a little bit in college, by bottle flipping. I was even able to turn that way into a charitable event.
Yep.
I did like a 24-hour, if you remember that, 24 hours straight of me flipping a bottle to raise money for the Australian Wildfire Fund. So anyway, I knew I was always going to try to turn it into some kind of charity thing. I think that's just who I am in general. Just knowing how blessed I have been growing up, just wanting to give back in some way and being able to use this platform while I have it and give back as much as I can. I think that's it. I'd been missing that the last couple of years since I'd left college. I've been so focused just on the NFL in general and making, the active roster, playing for the hometown Cincinnati Bengals. And it's been great, but I felt like I was missing a little bit of my former college self that made Drue. And, social media and giving back a little bit. I feel like it's that piece of the puzzle I've been missing and just feel much more complete as a human at this moment. It's been awesome.
If I remember correctly, there was at that time all kinds of hoops, difficulties, red tape that you'd have to go through, even just to raise money for charity. The NIL situation was not what it is now. And I wonder how much you think about that, look back and wonder why it was always so difficult, because there are a lot of people like yourself who would want to use it in a platform like this. You don't have to criticize the NCAA. You can if you want. You're not in a college anymore, but like it just seems a little bit crazy how quickly it changed. And maybe you were a part of that in some ways, but I wonder how much you think about how different it could have been.
Yeah, I missed out on some water bottle brand deals for sure. There were some things that people never even knew about that only Justin Kumi and I, our compliance officer, had many long conversations about and never ended up doing just because it's just too many hurdles. Actually, I take that back. I think just about everything I brought to him, he was able to figure out some way around it, wiggle around it. Even the proposal on the field was a huge red flag to even be able to get that done. And so, yeah, if I played college now, it'd be a lot easier. But in a way, yeah, maybe it makes me appreciate just the kind of freedom that I have now. And you can do whatever you want now. It's amazing. It seems like almost it's that way in college now to an extent. I don't know the exact specific rules, but that's kind of like the wild, wild west from what it looks like looking back now. Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's an interesting time, and I certainly missed out on some opportunities, I think, but I'm able to take full advantage of them now, and I'm enjoying it.
So you said, your child turned 1 or is about to turn 1, somewhere around there, crawling, getting ready to walk. You referenced the proposal, so obviously family things are still going well there. You're in Cincinnati, playing for the hometown team. I mean, things have to be pretty good for you right now. This feels like it's got to be a movie script.
It almost feels that way. I'm like I said, I'm very blessed, Austin. That's something I think my parents have always done a good job helping me recognize, even growing up. Realizing like growing up in America, and they had the abundance to be able to send me to private schools, or even if I didn't get a scholarship to Ohio State, I think they would have helped me out, in college in some way. I think part of that has always made me want to give back a little bit, just recognizing that. And yeah, things are so good now, and it could change in an instant. So, if things are taken care of at home, you can kind of look out and reach out and help others. And, it's an amazing blessing to be able to do that. I know a lot of people aren't. That's kind of the people I'm trying to help out at the moment.
Well, tell me about the football side. A journey from college to the NFL is not the same for a specialist as it is at many other positions. Not easy. Opportunities, right window, patience. What's the process been like for you to the point where you are now?
It's been a journey. Certainly that first year I got a full taste of what the NFL is and just how different it is from just the college side. And, being on scholarship and kind of knowing the next year you're pretty much guaranteed. And, It's not that way. It's not how that works. You see just the ups and downs. The first year, so I was undrafted. I signed with the Bengals as an undrafted free agent, and I was cut, I think it was 5 times that first year. Just on the practice squad 1 week, and then they need an extra tight end or something. Somebody went down in the game, so I'm the first one to go. You're not carrying 2 punters on a roster
right
in the NFL. So, yeah, a lot of it is just timing, a little bit of luck, and then when you get that opportunity, you got to make the most of it because you don't know when it's going to come again. And there's a little bit of that in college, but certainly having that the scholarship under your belt, you're able to have a little bit more wiggle room in case something did go wrong, stick with you a little bit longer. But here, I mean, you could have one bad game, even some bad practices strung together in a row, and all of a sudden you see the next day they got a workout for a guy for that week. So it's interesting. It's certainly a little bit more stressful. Just there's never any job security. Doesn't matter sometimes even what position you're in. Certainly in this one. But it's something you just kind of got to deal with as a specialist. You just got to kind of acknowledge it, and that's just the nature of the position, and enjoy it as long as possible while you're in it. NFL, not for long. So just
that's right.
Enjoy while you're in and take advantage of it, and make the most of it going forward the rest of your life.
As somebody who, I assume, with the local hometown team, maybe had some rooting interest, or at least was aware of what was going on with the Bengals, is the overwhelming popularity of this team right now, like not just down there or up here in Columbus, but like Joe Burrow is this cultural phenomenon, and people like the Bengals from coast to coast, like and get kind of upset at some of the officiating the last couple of years when the season ends. Does any of that surprise you? How different it is now than maybe what you were used to growing up?
For sure. Oh yeah, like I said, I'm a local kid. Bengals was my team. I remember we got fond memories of my dad and I going to games growing up, and yeah, seeing the Bengals of the past, it certainly makes you enjoy these last couple of years. I've been fortunate. I came in. This is going into my 3rd year. The last 2 years, I mean, Super Bowl and AFC Championship. It's been the 2 most successful Bengals seasons of all time in franchise history. I don't know how much I had to do with that myself, but I was in the locker room with it. Maybe I'm just a rabbit's foot lucky charm.
Your culture giver.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, there are a lot of Buckeyes in that locker room, so I think coming from some winning programs, that helps. Certainly Joe Burrow, that's a piece of the puzzle that I think has been missing for a while. As long as he's in the locker room, I think any team has a chance to go pretty far. But I would just say it's very college-esque, the locker room, in a way, and I think that's what has made that success so drastic in the last couple of years. And guys just want to hang out together. It feels like the brotherhood that we had in college, which is a lot harder to do in the NFL just because of all the moving pieces. 1 week in, 1 week out, you never know who's going to be there. But even knowing that, the guys, they put that to the side, and they just, whenever they get that chance, that moment, they just want to go make the best play for, the Cincinnati Bengals. And I think that has to do with guys are just friends. It's not so much of a business stance in the locker room, but more just, one goal in mind, and that's winning the Super Bowl. And I think that's going to be coming in the next couple of years for sure. The pieces are in the locker room. So it's a fun time to be a Bengals fan. So hop on the bandwagon.
Yeah, I have to ask about that because Berm has been a lifelong Bengals fan, and like he tried not to watch it for a long time, and now he's really enjoying it and wearing the the jerseys and everything again. So, and I think that does help him as well, that he knows you and Sam and Joe Burrow covered their recruitments a little bit. So yeah, maybe that personal attachment helped a little bit. I know he's pulling hard for that. And then my wife grew up as a Bengals fan as well. So, I want to see that team do well in Cincinnati, and I know you do too.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, it's a lot of fun, and yeah, it's a lot of Buckeyes too. Like I said, yeah. First day I walked in, I felt like I was back in 2016. There was Billy Price, Isaiah Prince, Joe, Sam, Keandre Jones. I remember covering him when he was at Ohio State too. He's still here.
Yep.
It's a lot of fun. Just a lot of good dudes. I think that's just the culture they're trying to build. From front office down, just bring in the right people, and the rest takes care of itself.
All right. Two more things, and then you can go back to the family. You came back for the spring game. I know you keep close tabs on what's going on with the Buckeyes. What do you make of the way Jesse Mirko has taken over that position?
Oh, Jesse's great. It's kind of fun seeing it go back to the Australian way. I remember I fought so hard my first 2 years because obviously I came after Cameron and was a full on. Urban. I think he was like trendsetter of coming up with the Australian style. And I fought so hard those first 2 years trying to turn it into like some sort of pro style, and ended up just kind of meeting in the middle some way and just making it work. They immediately go back to the Australian style. Why wouldn't you? Especially with the college rules and how everything is. It's a lot safer of a route for sure. And Jesse's a great talent, and the success he's had does not surprise me at all. I remember meeting him day one and punting with him. He's got a good leg on him, and his accuracy. I think just growing up in those Aussie rules football, those guys are wizards with the ball. Literally, they do things that I've never even thought of. My favorite part though was the Rutgers game. Though I had someone ask me about that a couple weeks back. That was something I was like, I didn't see that coming. You got to have some balls to pull that up, because I know that wasn't called. He might have been in the meeting like, hey, if it's open, go for it. Urban had always kind of told me, kind of giving me like a side eye or slight look, like it's always open. But I knew if I did that play didn't go right, he was sending me to the other sideline, like, all right, you can catch their bus home. So that was fun to see, and the he's great and exciting next couple of years for him.
All right, we'll bring it home for us, Drue. For the people that don't already follow it or aren't aware of how they can maybe help your efforts, where can they follow you? How can they assist in what you're doing down there in Cincinnati right now?
Yeah, so if you support me, follow along. My social medias are Drue Chrisman 91, Twitter and Instagram. We've got YouTube now, Chrisman Crew, and then even TikTok. I started that. That's just Drue Chrisman. Seems like I need to get on Threads now too. That's another thing I got to check out. I don't even know what that's about. So we'll see what that is when the time comes. But yeah, certainly. If you want to support me, that's great. If anything, I'm just been trying to promote is just kind of put good things out there. I think the world right now is just so negative. That's another thing I'm just trying to do is spread positivity. It doesn't have to be really even social media route. Just go out and do something in your own way. Just kind of pay it forward a little bit. Do the dishes before your mom asks, or mow your neighbor's yard without them really knowing, or just compliment someone throughout the day. I think the world needs a little bit more of that at the moment. You don't have to do something as kind of drastic as I've done in the last couple of weeks, but a little bit just has. You never know the ripple effect it can have in someone's life, and that they do something, and just there's a lot more positive America to live in. So.
It's great advice, and it's great insight as always from Drue Chrisman. That's why it's been, I'd say, way too long until I've had any of that in my life. So I appreciate it. I feel better already. I hope everybody who joined us for the podcast daily does as well. A big week ahead of you. Make it the best you can. We appreciate Drue Chrisman for joining us. Bengals and Buckeyes, you can't beat that right now. It's the perfect combination. For Drue, I am Austin. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks for having me on, Austin. Go Bucks and hoo day.